purpose of this video is to show you that just investing 2 Forma on your Nezha Prime can make this frame versatile and somehow do almost everything in the game. Take note that I will be showing the non-Helminth version of Nezha, and also some of the Helminth combos that you might want to try with this fiery warframe. Now I have plenty of videos like this for different frames, and you can check them out later. Also, feel free to comment below if you want a one-for-all build for your favorite frame. Lastly, be sure to subscribe if you want to check out more crazy builds and videos from this channel. Okay, now let's begin. Like I've said earlier, you will only need 2 Forma to replicate all the builds that I will be showing in this video. To be more specific, I added 2 V polarities on Nezha Prime, and with this, you can make this frame great in almost all star chart missions, and also become a good Eidolon hunter. The first build is about a mix of crowd control and speed. For this build variation, we will be focusing on his Firewalker ability and passive. His Firewalker gives us a small boost in speed, but its the biggest use is in terms of crowd control. The more you run around, the more fire you create in the ground, allowing you to inflict burn and CC enemies. On the other hand, his passive works like a roller skate, and it's key to Nezha's good mobility. The way I modded this build variation is like this: a simple mix of power strength and duration for Firewalker, then I added Magalef, cunning drift, and streamlined form to make roller skating even more efficient. You see, adding more power strength to his Firewalker is not the key to his speed, but both decrease in friction and increase in slide will allow this frame to move faster with his roller skate. Moving on, we got to build for hard CC and protection. For this mod setup, we will be focusing on his Divine Spear and Warding Halo abilities. Divine Spears can impale a room full of enemies if you give it lots of range. This is a perfect tool for defending certain objectives, but there are times that enemies won't get impaled by this ability. Those enemies that just spawn earlier in the mission won't get affected by Divine Spears, which is why I included the Safeguard augment on this mod setup. This augment will allow you to put Warding Halo in your companions, allied warframes, and defense objectives such as excavators, hostages, and more. Overall, this build is all about protecting your allies and defense target with the help of Divine Spears and Warding Halo with the Safeguard augment. By the way, I almost forgot to share the best speed build for this frame. Firewalker with the slide passive isn't the best mobility kit for Nezha. His Blazing Chakram is. This ability allows you to travel to the ring's location once you press the ability key again after throwing. For the build, all you need is max efficiency, a lot of energy, and then casting speed buff. If you want to race with your friends, and you like to use Nezha, then you might want to try this build variation. The next build is all about endgame levels, or endurance runs. This build will allow you to use Nezha in long survival runs or even in the Steel Path version of the star chart. Now, instead of just showing you the build, I will explain the full setup and as well as details on how to use it to make Nezha do more damage and become immortal at endgame levels. First of all, the build has no focus on a specific ability of Nezha. This is designed to make all of his abilities work in tandem to destroy high-level enemies easily. To elaborate, I put some range on this build so I can use Divine Spears whenever I need a breathing room. Also, I added high power strength on this build for both Warding Halo and Blazing Chakram. Power strength does help Warding Halo's damage absorption, and it would be best to pair it with some armor mods, but as you can see, I have no room for that kind of mod in this build. Nonetheless, the health of Warding Halo is still sufficient for survivability while using this build. On the other hand, Blazing Chakram damage vulnerability debuff to enemies does also scale with power strength. This ability is best to use in tandem with Divine Spear as it will allow you to generate an additional chakram which will hit nearby enemies. And lastly, I have primed continuity for duration on the abilities, and adaptation for more tankiness. Now take note that Warding Halo is not like Rhino's Iron Skin. It doesn't make you invincible until the armor depletes, but what it does is give you damage reduction. This means that your health will still deplete, making Hunter Adrenaline a good fit for this kind of setup. But obviously, there are tendency that you will die as damage reduction alone won't work against endgame enemies. The best advice I can give is to pair your Nezha Prime with a melee weapon that can regenerate your health per hit. A healing return melee weapon setup would do, and also, the Nikana and Deka setup will also suffice. In addition, if you want to try some Helminth builds for your endgame Nezha Prime, then I would suggest trying Elemental Ward with the Cold Element. The amount of health that Warding Halo can stack when you cast Elemental Ward first will get doubled, or even tripled, allowing you to be tankier with this ability. Also, The slow effect coming from the cold procs returned to enemies when they hit you can serve as crowd control, which further boosts your survivability. The last build variation I will be showing is all about an Eidolon Hunter Nezha Prime. I know this is not the best frame for Eidolon hunting, but if you somehow want to try your favorite skater boy against those big trees in the plains, then here's how to do it. First of all, you need a damage buff subsumed ability. You have two options, either Mirage Eclipse or Rhinos Roar, and then, equip lots of power strength mods in your build along with the Safeguard Augment the Warding Halo. This augment also works in Eidolon lures and it will help you keep them alive for the rest of the hunt. By the way, Blazing Chakram doesn't work against Eidolons and the only that is working is the Safeguard Augment for the lures. Like I've said, this is not the best Eidolon hunter, but if you want to try something non-meta, then this is the blueprint you need in your Nezha Prime. So that's all about it. I hope that you find this video informative. Let me know your thoughts about this guide in the comment section below. Lastly, I would humbly ask your support for the next series I will be making on this channel. I'm planning to post some Cyberpunk 2077 content along with warframe videos on this channel. I hope that you support me in my new project, and like always, thank you so much for watching. Squad Leader signing off.
This is the future. Human error. Evolution. This is the future.